Hi everyone, today I'm going to talk about my top 5 worst books of 2017. 2017 was an amazing reading year for me. I read some amazing books, but unfortunately I also read some really not so amazing books. I actually think that in 2017 I've read some of the worst books I've ever read. And you guys probably know me by now, I have some pretty unpopular opinions. So yeah, prepare yourselves because I'm probably going to rant on some of your favorite books, but yeah. But yeah, let's just get started and then I'm going to tell you all about the worst books I read this year. The first book on my list is Karafall by Stephanie Carber. Now I won't say that this is necessarily one of the worst books I've ever read. I think the book in itself is just very mediocre, but when I was reading it I was not completely hating it. It had some enjoyable parts, but it is on this list because by far this is the most disappointing book of this year. Before its release, Karafall had been so hyped up for months. Everyone who had an arc was raving about it. It was supposed to be this amazing book, everyone loved it. It was supposed to be like the Night Circus, like this amazing circus themed book. And then it came out and it was just such a disappointment because it was nothing like the amazingness that was promised to me. Karafall is about two sisters named Scarlett and Tella who go to this Karafall, and then Scarlett has to solve a mystery of some sort. I cannot even give you a proper synopsis because this book is so weird and vague and not consequent in its story at all. When I read a circus book, I want to be blown away by the circus atmosphere and I want to feel like I'm there with the characters. But I've read the book and I still don't know exactly what Karafall is because the explanation is so vague. The characters are not the best characters ever. I didn't actively hate them, but I also didn't enjoy them or anything. I did not very much like the romance, and as I said, the plot was just so all over the place and a bit weird. So yeah, not necessarily a really bad book, but a very disappointing book to me. The next book on my list is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. So The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer is one of my all-time favorite series. I love that series with all my heart. So when Marissa Meyer had written this new retelling, I was so excited to read it. Heartless is a retelling of the Queen of Hearts and how she became the Queen of Hearts. So yeah, again, my expectations with this book were very high and then I was so disappointed when I read it. So the Queen of Hearts in this book is a girl named Catherine, and at the beginning she's super sweet and amazing and whatever, and she's also a baker. And then she meets this mysterious, charming jester at the court of the King of Hearts. And that is where this book starts off, but it was nothing like the Lunar Chronicles. This retelling was so bad in my opinion. I felt absolutely nothing for the characters. I think Catherine is supposed to be likable at the beginning, before she becomes the Queen of Hearts, but I didn't like her. Then Jess, the court jester, was also without a personality basically. I mean, at the first two chapters he had a bit of personality, but then it just vanished. It went out of the window. Also, I couldn't tell you anything about the story anymore because it's so forgettable and so all over the place. Also, this book is crammed with Alice in Wonderland references. And I know this is sort of a Alice in Wonderland retelling, but it was just so annoying. On every single page there was something I can think up 6 impossible things before breakfast, or off with their heads, or all the Alice in Wonderland things. And it felt very forced. So Heartless, I was very disappointed and I did not enjoy it whatsoever. And then the next book on my list that I really did not like is Flame in the Mist by Renee Ahdieh. And this actually has the exact same story as with Heartless. I really love the Red in the Dawn duology by Renee Ahdieh, so I was very excited for her new release, and then again, this book disappointed me so much. Flame in the Mist is sort of a Mulan retelling, but also not really. It is about a girl named Mariko who is the daughter of a wealthy samurai, but she's attacked by this warrior clan, but she survives and then she goes undercover with that warrior clan as a boy. And seriously, I had to read the premise to know what it was actually about because I've read the entire thing and I've forgotten almost everything about it. The story tries really hard to be exciting and adventurous, but it really just is not. I didn't feel any atmosphere in this book at all. It just felt so boring and so bland. I felt like Renee Ahdieh was trying something with the world and the atmosphere, but it just did not work in my opinion. Riko is a terrible main character. I absolutely hated her. She suffers from a severe case of tell and not show. As in, we're being told how amazing and how smart she is, constantly, but she doesn't really do something or show something that she really is that amazing badass that we're being told about. She just annoyed me throughout the entire book, and like I couldn't care less about what happened to her. And like, as I said, I barely remember any other characters from this book. I know there's the clan leader, and then there's another guy, and there are kings and queens or emperors and empresses and this war, and I just don't know. I mean, I feel like my being hyped up for this book might have something to do with my disappointed. I mean, when you expect a lot from a book, then it would be even more disappointing when you don't like it. But I do think that this is quite a bad book in its own right, and yeah, I know Renee Ahdieh can write amazing stories, but this book isn't one of them. I'm sorry. So now we're getting to my 2 worst books of the entire year, and I think you probably know what those are. So let's start with the one you've all been waiting for, and that is A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J Maas. I don't even have my copy anymore because I unhauled it because I hated it. So I've talked about like Sarah J Maas's books many times before. I've did a whole review about A Court of Wings and Ruin, which I will put a link down below in the description box. And I also talk a lot about why I don't like Sarah J Maas's books in general in my popular books that I don't like video. Again, I will put a link to that down below. But yeah, let me just talk about it one more time about why I didn't like it. A Court of Wings and Ruin is the 3rd book in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series, and it is about a girl named Feyre and like different courts and fae people, and yeah, again, I cannot say much about it because it is the 3rd book in a series. Even though I already didn't like the 2nd book, A Court of Mist and Fury, I still picked up the 3rd book because I was curious what everyone was talking about, and I thought maybe she's redeemed herself a little bit, so let's just read it and see what I think of it. But unfortunately, I hated it. It was definitely the worst book out of the 3. I think Sarah J Maas's writing is terrible. I hate it. I hate the dramatic writing that she does, and like how she tries to make everything sound exciting even when it isn't exciting. I hate the characters, especially because she suffers like from this female main character that is amazing and the best thing in everything. Feyre is definitely a character like that. She is supposed to be this amazing character. Again, a lot of tell and not show. We mainly talk about how amazing she is and how much we love her and how brilliant she is and she can do everything. But I think she's quite arrogant and very unlikable. She thinks herself a lot better than everyone else, and she thinks that she can do everything because she's supposed to be morally right. Like, she does a lot of things that I don't agree with, but it's portrayed as being okay because she's the hero, and when you are the hero, you can lie to people, you can betray people because it's for the greater good, so it's all fine. And I just don't buy that, and I hate it, and I hate reading about it. Also, Rhysand, I cannot say much about it without spoiling, but I hate him. I think he's the worst like male lead in a book ever. Everyone keeps talking about how much they love Rhysand, but I hate him so much. He's not that great of a character, I think. Again, I talk about that in more spoilery details in my review video, but like, I hate Rhysand with every fiber of my being. And then another thing is that I feel like Sarah J Maas doesn't plan ahead her books. I think she always just writes what she thinks of at the moment. And as a result of that, there are some plot points that feel very sudden and out of nowhere, and they had no build up at all, but it's being presented as a plot twist or something exciting, but I think she just like thought of it at the last minute and just crammed it in there. And I don't like that. I like stories that are very well built and like make sense in the entire story, but with her books that's just not the case. Yeah, I could talk about this for hours, so let's just stop for right now, but A Court of Wings and Ruin is terrible, and it's definitely the last Sarah J Maas book I will ever read. So yeah, I didn't think it was possible, but there's still one book that I hated more than A Court of Wings and Ruin, and that is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Gary Maniscalco. At the moment, this is the worst book I have ever read in my entire life. Stalking Jack the Ripper is about a girl named Audrey Rose who like works with her uncle and dissects bodies and loves doing that. But she lives in Victorian London, so it's not proper for a lady to do that. And then the Jack the Ripper murders start happening, and Audrey Rose goes on a investigation to find out who has done it, together with her new friend Thomas. Again, I talk about this in my popular books that I don't like video, but this book frustrated me on so many levels, and I felt so angry after reading it. I can barely explain it. Audrey Rose is definitely the worst main character that has been ever written, ever. She's supposed to be this amazing, smart, feminist who does whatever she wants and who doesn't care about what people think of her. But in reality, she cannot solve a single clue in the mystery. Like, even when it's staring her right in front of the face, she doesn't understand it. Every time she needs Thomas to like explain it to her. So I don't know why she's being presented as smart, because she isn't. Also, the whole murder mystery thing in this book was the most predictable thing ever. Like, I knew straight away who the murderer was. It is very easy. It's not very complicated at all. But I think what annoyed me the most is the whole feminism part of this book. Because Audrey Rose, she's whining and complaining about men basically every page. She just keeps on saying how she doesn't need men in her life, how she can do everything by herself, and how she doesn't want to follow the rules of society, and so on and so on. She just keeps saying things like that, and it starts to get really annoying. It just feels like very like empty, meaningless feminism, because she's just complaining all the time. But that's not the only thing. Audrey Rose is also being a feminist by looking down on other women. There's not a single likable woman in this book besides Audrey Rose. They are all being portrayed as these stupid, mindless, like people who only like tea parties, who only like dresses. Audrey Rose thinks she is better than them. She literally says that she feels sorry for them because they are so stuck in their ways and stuck in the rules of society, and like she's the only one smart enough to break the whole thing and break the rules and whatever. And if you look down on women like that, like if you think you are so much better, then you are not a feminist in my opinion. I hated this book, if you couldn't tell already, but yeah, it just has so many problems in my opinion, and yeah, it frustrates me a lot and I hated it. I really didn't like it, and I'm probably going to unhaul this book at some point, but yeah, this is definitely the worst book I read in 2017. So yeah, this was it for my worst books of 2017 video. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I enjoy watching videos like this. There's just something like entertaining about people ranting about books they didn't like. And I mean, if you did like any of these books that I mentioned, then that's totally fine. Like, I'm happy you enjoyed them. So yeah, this was it for this video. And if you like this video, please go subscribe or give it a thumbs up, because I would really appreciate that. And then hopefully I will see you again in my next video. Bye!